In this lesson, I'm going to teach you to cut something out as a means of tidying up my rather messy selection. So I hope that you've managed to colour in your woman's dress and use the blend mode to blend it to the layer below. I've got my dress on Colour Dodge and I'm still at 100% opacity and fill, mostly because I wanted you to see my mistakes, and I'm going to show you a different way of tidying up with a mask by cutting something out. Okay, so as you can see, I have got paint splurges all over the edge of my dress here. So we could put this on a mask and grab a black brush and start painting out this edge, and it will take us quite a while and be quite detailed and difficult work. So let's get started cutting things out, because I'm quite sure that you can't wait to figure out how to do that anyway. So what we're going to do, let's zoom back out with Command or Control and the minus key on the keyboard. And to drag across, I hold down my space bar so the little hand appears, and then use my mouse. So let's go out again. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I don't want to cut the dress out here because this is just our colouring in, so we don't want this. So for the moment, I'm actually just going to turn this layer off so it's not in the way and confusing anything. And I'm going to come down to the layer below because this is where I want to cut the skirt out. So there are many ways of cutting things out. I can't tell Photoshop in this instance the quick way, which is to say select subject. You've got that on this little floating bar here, and also under your select menu, subject. Because with this image, number one, there's more than one subject. We've got these ornaments here and the woman. And the second thing is we don't want the whole woman, we just want the skirt. So I am going to use one of my tools from this panel over here on the left hand side. So we've got a number of options. We've got a selection brush, we've got the lasso tool. My favourite, I think for this instance, would be the quick selection tool or the object selection. So the difference between them is quick selection, I'm just going to show you. You get a little tiny, in this case, because it's too small. If I make it bigger with my brush key, exactly the same, it's just a brush. So I use my square brackets to make it smaller or larger. And as you can see, the panel has now changed. So we're adding to our selection on this icon, taking away. Here's the size and hardness of our brush and the spacing. And it's just asking if we want to sample all layers. So try not to worry about that right now. So we could then paint. So I would reduce my brush down, and as you can see, your little marching ants are what you're selecting. So it'll probably do quite a good selection. I'm just moving around and just pushing those little marching ants out to the side. Now, whoops, you can see it's got confused and pushed the selection out too far. So I could come up and select and click my minus button, or I can just hold down the Alt or Option button on my keyboard as I just nudge the marching ants back to where I want them. Now, when you first start using this, you will probably find it's all over the place and it takes a while to get to grips with it. And that is perfectly normal. And the only way to get that skill is just to keep practicing. Some tips are zoom in so you can see closely what you're doing, because very often a selection looks better than it actually is. So I'm just going to nudge that out a little bit further. And as you can see, it's gone too far. Now, I know one of the reasons it's done that, I'm going to go Option or Alt to push it back, is because my brush is too big. The smaller the brush you use, the finer the detail in the selection. So I'm going to reduce my brush down a little bit and then just nudge that and see if it can grab that edge. Let's just see if it can manage that, shall we? Okay, so this is one way of doing it. As you can see, it's a bit of push and pull. So I'm going to come out and show you a different way. So to deselect, it's Command or Control D. And let's try the other option on the same icon. So I've right clicked and I'm going to say Object Selection. Now this is going to give me a square. So I'm just using my left mouse button to drag and drop a shape. And I'm just going to see if it guesses that that's what I wanted. And it does. Boom, there you go. It's pretty good. I'm going to zoom in and just see how good that selection is. It's better than the effort I was making. So I'm going to say, do you know, that's okay for now. And we want that on a mask. So just the same as before, mask button, add a layer mask. And as you can see, the image is still there, but we now have white on the skirt because the white reveals and the black hides. So all that's happened is the rest of the image is hiding under the invisibility cloak. Okay, so we could go in and tidy this mask up a little bit, but I think for the purposes of this tutorial, let's not get too complicated. I just wanted you to get the idea that you can cut things out and put them on a mask as well as paint on them. So if I came over here onto this mask, it's no different to any other mask we have created so far. I could sit on my mask, grab my brush, and I could say I want my brush a bit bigger, which is square brackets, and I can paint white where it's black. So let's just do that to show you. So X on the keyboard to swap between black and white. And if I just do, oops, I'm on white. I need white rather, so there we go. If I just do a dot, you can see the image underneath. And we've got a very specific round dot because we've got a very hard brush, remember? So all you're seeing is the image underneath. So I could actually paint that all back in. Okay, I'm going to Command Z a few times and get back to where we were to get rid of that. So it's just a mask, the same as any other mask. The only difference is we've asked Photoshop to help us cutting it out. Now here's the really cool thing. We have the other image underneath. So if I turn this bottom layer on, which is the other reason I keep it, we can actually see the rest of the image underneath. So turn that one off, it's invisible again. Now to tidy up my selection on this skirt, I am going to say, Photoshop, could you pin this colour to this skirt that you've cut out? Because I really like your cutout. So I am going to come back up to my layer with my colouring in, and it's selected because we've got the white box around it. I'm going to right click and say create a clipping mask. And that has clipped the skirt to the cutout Photoshop just made. I'm going to Command Z, and there you can see unclipped. If you just watch the dress, because it's a really messy cutout, all I'm saying, just literally imagine it like a paper clip or a pin. And I'm saying, Photoshop, could you take my colouring in, which is horribly messy, and just pin it to your much more perfect cutout below. Right click, create clipping mask. And if you watch the dress, you will have seen the line tuck in because it's pinned itself to the skirt underneath. And we could, of course, turn the rest of the dress on by using the layer underneath, which hasn't got a mask on it. So although on this middle layer, all of this image is under this mask, this black mask, this layer underneath doesn't have a mask on it. So because there's a black invisibility cloak covering this, we can see right through, can't we? Because this, if we remember, is like painting on glass. So when you rub the colour and the image off the glass with your black magical paint, you can see whatever is underneath, whether that's an image, transparency, or if I actually put a white fill layer underneath to show you, I'm just going to drag that down to the bottom. Don't worry about what I'm doing. But if I now put a white layer underneath, you can see white. And if I turn that off and put the image back on, you can see that. Because all we've done is the black paint is like rubbing out the colour, cover it up so we can see through the glass to the layer below, whatever that might be. Okay, so our skirt is now clipped to the cutout we did below. So that is how you cut something out in Photoshop and add a clipping mask. You can release the clipping mask, and if you watch the skirt as I do it, I've just gone right click, release the clipping mask, and we have the messy cutout. Add the clipping mask back. All we're doing is pinning our colouring to this much more perfect cutout of the skirt below. Okay, next lesson we'll get on with other ways of colouring in with Photoshop.